Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Almond Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important it is? Trying to save the pump. Really, this is what you're doing?
Chief, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair.
YouTube Live.
Radio station.
The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station?
I like everything. It's always on my radio.
We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
You're listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here live weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key. And simulcasting on YouTube.com/@Braves Country. Your first choice for Southern sports. Good afternoon. I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. That Jefferson Chavez dummy that they put up in the bullpen is absolutely classic. Oh!
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man with a cool one in his head. Yeah, the armchair.
Hey, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? You are watching our YouTube show, our live 3 to 5. You can see the Jesse Chavez picture up, and it is absolutely classic. The bullpen guys decided to have some fun, and they put a dummy together. I can't do it justice. You're just going to have to go to our page and check it out. But basically, they put a dummy up, put Chavez's jersey on, and they put an X marks a spot type of thing where he got hit in the leg by the ball, and he is on the IL. Now, we got a lot of stuff to get into and a little time to do it. The lineup is out. So with the lineup being out, we're going to dive into that here in a second. But before we get into tonight's game, I do want to touch on last night's game. Big win by the Braves. I mean, these are one of these spots that I really believe that we look back on a season and we forget about. But this was a huge, huge deal last night. Not only did the Braves get the win, which is always nice, but in a 162-game season, I know a lot of fans don't like to hear this, but sometimes the W is not the most important thing. Sometimes it's just resetting the team. But okay, we go in and we get the W. That's great. AJ Smith-Shawver, as I like to call him, the SSAJ, he goes out and pitches almost a quality start. What do you guess? 5 1/3, 5 2/3, whatever it was, 3 earned runs. Really good. 5 2/3. That's right. It was 5 2/3. And then, okay, you're like, all right, well, let's go ahead and try to finish this win off because the offense really ignited and really took off. Let's go ahead and see if we can get some runs of our, some runs. We got the lead. Let's go and slam the door. How are we going to get there? We went through a lot of bullpen on Wednesday with the doubleheader, but we should have some guys available. You would have liked to stay away from as many guys as possible going into the weekend, especially with Chavez going on the IL. And then Michael Tonkin goes out and fires 3 1/3 scoreless innings. Gets his first career save. He's been in the league, 10 years? He gets his first career save, and it was an absolute masterpiece. When he first came in, he was struggling with his command. And then he started getting the curveball going and his command across the board going, and it was an absolute beautiful thing to watch. Shawver looked pretty good as well Here is Ozzie Albies on the win, and then we'll go from there. We got clips from Ozzie. I got clips from Tonkin. I got clips from AJ. Let's go. Ozzie Albies on the big W.
Well, you just keep trusting the process and keep going without looking back, and that's what I do.
What do you think of the pitching staff today?
Oh, they did a great job keeping Rockies to only 3 runs, and I'm happy we got the W.
When you look at your team in total, the last 4 games, 30 total runs, how dangerous have you guys been offensively during this stretch?
Yeah, it can even get better. It can even get better. That's like I said yesterday. Once everything is working, everybody do everything is going to be great. Thank you again for all the fans. They come and support us every night.
So that was Ozzie right after the game. Ozzie had a big night, and look, they put him up in the number 2 spot against the left-hander. Freeland never had a chance, did he? The Braves have absolutely pounded left-handed pitching. Now, that's great and all, but you got to figure when we hit October, we're not going to see a lot of left-handed pitching because they're absolutely destroying it. But Freeland, man, he really took one on the chin there. Got pounded by the Braves, and so the Braves go out and put up 8 runs. A.J. Smith-Shawver, his second career start, out there in front of the home crowd. Second career start in front of the home crowd. Let's get his comments after the game.
Few pitches I missed out, but for the most part, I felt pretty good tonight. Definitely feeling more comfortable on the mound, for sure.
Did the guys celebrate you a little bit?
Yeah, just a little something.
What, not only to get the first win, but you knew what happened yesterday. You knew they were thin out there. How good does it feel just to come out and pitch into the 6th inning as effectively as you did?
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously the plan. I knew we were spread thin out there, so I just wanted to try to eat up as many innings as I could. I'm glad they sent me out in the 6th to try to eat up some more, but definitely it was nice to try to help them out a little bit today.
What'd you tell Snit when you went back out there for the 6th inning before you went out there and wanted to send you back out there?
I didn't say anything, honestly. They just came in after they came in the 5th. They never said anything. They didn't shake my hand, so I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's try to get another one out there. So that's it.
I feel like the games kind of slowed down for you inning by inning. It just seemed like your stuff just kept getting better and better.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is just like the comfortability and just starting to just kind of find and be comfortable.
So that was AJ, the SSAJ, as he's becoming affectionately known here, and he went out there and pitched a great game. Did he look perfect? No. This kid, man, he's starting to find his groove, and I'll tell you what, you can tell a big difference between his first outing and even his second outing, really, compared to last night, because of the comfortability, you're starting to see the velocity go up. And I think a lot of that has to do with when he first comes in. I mean, the kid's 20. He comes in, he's just trying to guide the ball there. And probably he's probably all in his head. Now he's starting to feel it. Wait till this kid gets 5, 6, 7 starts in, and he's just out there throwing. He's just out there delivering the ball. That's going to be a fun thing to see, and he continues to get better and better and better. So Shawver goes out there, absolutely pitches a beauty. And then Tonkin, like we talked about, and we'll hit the batter stats here in a second. But Tonkin, he goes out there, and at first first of all, I remember watching the feed. We didn't do the play-by-play, but we did the live chat feed last night, and I was keeping an eye on it while I had to do other things. We will have the game play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch right here on Braves Country HD tonight, 7:20 first pitch. And I was watching the comments, and people were wanting to know who they were bringing in the second inning. So that would have been, the 7th. And I had mentioned during the break, well, he's only gotten 2 outs. And Tonkin typically goes 1 2/3, 2 2/3. That's pretty much been standard for him. They don't bring him in typically just to put out a fire. They want him to eat some innings. So I kind of figured he was at least going to go through the 7th. And then I thought, as he was pitching really well, I was like, all right, well, I think they're going to let him go through the 8th. But you don't even think about a reliever going 3 1/3. So my mind starts going, all right, where may they go? I guess it would depend on the lead. If we got a really big lead, you might end up seeing the kid Ben Heller that they just called up. You might see him get some action just to get the rust off of him, right? But they sent him back out there. I mean, and it was bam, 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 slam the door. I don't want to overreact to this. It was a 5-run lead against the Colorado Rockies, who they have the worst record in Major League Baseball on the road. So let's not overreact to that, right? But it was impressive. Here is Tonkin on his first Major League save after 10 years in the league.
You could play a big role today. How good does it feel to go out and produce like you did?
Yeah, I mean, being able to contribute and help the team win a ball game and save some of the guys out in the bullpen is awesome. I mean, anytime I can help the team, I'm happy.
But just this whole year in general, I mean, to be able to produce like you have and just be such an integral part of a World Series type team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the dream to be on a team that's good and help them. It's a dream, yeah.
How do you stay ready for any situation? Maybe when you know, today I guess you knew you'd pitch, but sometimes you might not know.
I guess kind of have an idea. I'm always moving around when I feel like there's a chance. Usually jogging. Sure, yeah, just kind of, that's what we do. Just about everything, really, when it comes to the game.
That 9th inning, did you know you were going to go back out there and finish it out?
When I came in and said, go back out there, finish it, and so I was like, all right, let's go.
How was it to see AJ get his first career win tonight and look as good as he did tonight?
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, he's here helping the team. That's great.
So that was Michael Tonkin talking about going out there, and so we used. If you look at it from the great scheme of things, we used 2 of our lower ends to go out there and get a W, because you took a rookie and you took Tonkin, who, look, he's not looked upon as a high leverage guy, and they go out there and they get a W, and it's a convincing W. And so that will lead into tonight, where the Braves will try to take the first 2 of the series, as Schuster will be on the mound. More on that here in 1 second. I did want to hit up on what the Braves did do in that game, as Atlanta went out there and really jumped on Colorado early. Ozzie Albies, by the way, had 3 hits, 3 RBIs, bases clearing double. Braves beat the Rockies 8-3. And, of course, once again, A.J. Smith-Shawver, 20 years old. I mean, can you imagine? What were you doing at 20 years old? I was putting together the worst, I mean by far the worst, fake ID you have ever seen on the planet. And I don't even know why I had it, because half the bars in the little Tennessee town that I was living in at the time, which has gotten much bigger nowadays, but it basically, if you could see over the bar stool, they would serve you back then, many a moon ago. But that's what I was doing at 20. I don't know what y'all were doing at 20. And he goes out and just fires almost a quality start. For folks who aren't familiar with that, a quality start is 6 innings, 3 earned or less. And that's kind of always been looked upon as a barometer of a good outing, a very good outing, since they've been keeping track of that, which, from my knowledge, those quality starts they started keeping track of that around 25, 30 years ago. Maybe a little longer, but that's when it really got into the vernacular. I know from a standpoint of us, seam heads, us baseball nerds that have gotten into. I've been into the numbers, into the weeds of the numbers for years and years and years. I can remember it really being a commonly used phrase, the quality start, by the mid to late 90s. And it was probably a little before that, but that's what I remember. Kevin Pillar, how about him? 2 for 3, 2 RBI. And Sean Murphy added 3 hits, 2 runs. And so we've won 9 of our last 11. We go out and get 11 hits, the offense clicking. Now, big picture, let's calm down. Calm the hell down. Our offense has been clicking the last 3 days against the Detroit Tigers and the Colorado Rockies. Let's not act like we're going up against the 27 Yankees. But you love to see it. You love to see it. And Atlanta kept them off. They made a little noise, and there were a couple of rocky moments in the actual game itself from the pitching standpoint. But all in all, you got to love the perseverance. Typically in a Major League Baseball game, you're not going to go cruising through unless you have some of the great outings we've seen from a Spencer Strider or a Max Fried, or the list goes on and on and on. But when Murphy gets 3 hits, Albies gets 3 hits, that home run by Matt Olson, if you missed that one, holy cow, 464 happy feet over the wall. And I can't do it justice. If you haven't seen it, pull it up at some time this weekend. It went crawling up the crowd. I mean, you just keep it going. Oh, on and on and on and on. I thought that thing was going to draw rain. It was unbelievable. And, last night also, you got an RBI by Ozuna. I thought this was one of the better at-bats of the entire game of anybody. And it's going to get slept on, but we have a runner at third and 1 out, and Ozuna comes to the plate. This is after, I believe it was Olson that pulled Murphy over. Yeah, it was. Because remember, Olson was pushed down to the 5 spot last night. More on that in a second. Olson, a very productive out, gets Murph from second to third. After Murph led off with the double, he goes second to third. And then there's 1 away, and Ozuna comes up, and Ozuna makes sure that he gets a fastball that he can handle and send it. And yes, it died at the wall, but it was so deep, Murph probably could have crawled to home plate. So that was a huge, huge play right there in itself, because we just answered a run back. So the team in general just played very well. Even Arcia, who you're going to say, well, he didn't do anything. Yeah, he did. He drew 2 walks. He scored 2 runs, batting .327. Harris even got a hit. He's 1 for 4. His batting average crawling up. Of course, when your batting average is that low, anytime you get base hits, it's going to improve it. But still, we had a lot of guys well below the Mendoza line not too long ago, and now Harris still has the lowest of the batting averages at this point. But it's .222. It's not as putrid as it was. Ozuna's batting .242. Olson .232. So those are the 3 right now that are at the bottom of the barrel, so to speak. But these guys are coming on, and look, hitting is contagious. All these guys start hitting and start collecting hits together and getting on. The next thing you know, the pitcher's in trouble, working out of the stretch as opposed to the windup. That it all is affected. All right, let me go ahead and take the Jesse Chavez. I mean, that is a funny picture. Let me take the Jesse Chavez. In case y'all missed that, if you're just joining us, Jesse Chavez, the bullpen guys, they made a joke. They made a joke of a mannequin and of Jesse Chavez out in the bullpen. He's so well thought of, and they basically took a mannequin and put an X marks the spot on the knee, put a Jesse Chavez jersey on there, basically saying, "We miss you, buddy." All right, let's go ahead and get into the lineup for tonight, as the lineup is out, and we are seeing once again, and Snicker mentioned this last night. I just couldn't find a good audio. The only audio I found on Snicker talking about this is all crackly, and it's not worth putting out there. But we're going to get Ronald Acuna Jr., and we'll do all the batting averages and everything just before first pitch on the lineup card. But we're going to get Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ozzie Albies is going to be batting second. And this time, there's a righty on the mound, Dinelson Lamet. So this isn't just a lefty thing. They have switched it up. and you got Riley batting third, Darnold batting fourth. Murphy's going to take the day off, which means he'll be back in the lineup tomorrow. It'll be a day game after a night game. And then you'll have Olsen is in the 5 spot again, followed by Ozuna. And Eddie is back in the lineup. With the right-hander on the mound, he's going to be out in left field. Arcia and Harris will follow. And, of course, Jared Schuster on the mound. And Jared Schuster should be ready to rock tonight. I think he'll do well against this lineup, and he's looked better and better each start out. To me, he's getting more command. The thing that he's going to have to do is just keep the traffic off the base paths. But for a guy right now who's representing our number 4, number 5 starter at this point, he's done a phenomenal job. Braves, once again, 7:20 first pitch. 7:20 first pitch, and we'll have it here, pitch by pitch, play by play, as we're getting ready for it and getting you set for it. Braves are heavy favorites tonight. So my pick to click against the right-hander, Lamet, who's given up a lot of fly balls. It seems a little on the nose to go with Olsen after that big home run. So give me Money Mike. I'll take Money Mike to click tonight. I think he'll see a lot of very hittable pitches. If you're not familiar with Lamet, the Rockies starting pitcher, he started with San Diego. He was looked upon as one of the best prospects in the game. Then he had a lot of injuries over the last few years. He's working his way back. And look, he's got an ERA over 10. You don't love that if you're a Rockies fan. But he does, the one thing the guy does, he can bring it. He's a fireballer. But he's still working his way back, and let's be honest, the Rockies are still in a rebuild, so that's why he's on this team. Would Dinelson, Lamet be in the starting rotation for most of it? No, but he's getting an opportunity, and the Braves should be able to score, which means if Schuster can keep the run total down, get us close to a quality start, somewhere near that 6 innings and 3 earned runs, Braves have a very good chance of pulling this off. All right. Let's take a really quick break. Bobby is on the way. By the way, tonight, want to make sure I got this right before I give you the particulars. Tonight, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE, 6:50 is your pregame show for the Hoots baseball, and the Chattahoots are going to take on the Atlanta Crackers tonight at 7:05 first pitch. So 6:50 is the pregame for that, 7:05 first pitch, and we'll mention this a few more times throughout the broadcast, but that's tonight, a Friday night baseball edition here on 99.1 FM. If you're looking for the Braves Country, just find us over on YouTube, Braves Country HD. We simulcast here on 99.1 FM, WQEE, and along with Braves Country. Look for Braves Country HD on YouTube. All right, let's go ahead and take that real quick break. When we come back, Bobby's coming in. We have begun our mini camps. So we're going to talk a little football today on a Football Friday, and we got a lot more stuff in store, plus a lot more baseball to get into. Real quick update in Chicago. The Cubs lead the Orioles 3-1, so I'm sure Tones is excited about that. We'll talk to him here at the top of the hour. Keep it locked in here on WQEE 99.1 FM. We'll be back in a flash.
It's summertime, and that means the return of all the fun and excitement of Chattahoots baseball at historic Golden Park. Bring the whole family down for a night of fun. Tickets start as low as $10 with a discount for kids, seniors, and active military. Or celebrate a special night at the park with a group package or suite night. For game dates and more, visit GoHoots.com. That's GoHoots.com.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neal, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey, and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
It's baseball season now, but hockey will be back before you know it. Join the Columbus River Dragons as they celebrate the team's 5th anniversary season in 2023-24. Season tickets are on sale now with no price increase from last season. Lock up your favorite seat for every exciting moment. Call the River Dragons at 706-507-4625 or go online to rdragons.com. That's rdragons.com. River Dragons Hockey. Get fired up.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes 1 free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
You shut up! Well, You make me change restaurant, but nobody come. But where are people? You see people? Show me people. There are no people. You bad man. You very, very bad man.
Bad man? Could my mother have been wrong?
Welcome back. We're at halftime of the first hour of Braves Country today, and Bobby's joined us here on a Football Friday. Bobby, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. We already got the mini camps going. That means football's right around the corner,
Yes,
and I
sir.
know that's right in your wheelhouse. I know you're excited about that. We'll get more into it in a second, but did you see this report that it looks like Ja Morant is going to get just 25 games?
Yeah, I was surprised to see it was that little. I thought it would at least be half the season. I'm thinking 40 games, but that's pretty light suspension for what Adam Silver was talking
Well,
about.
yeah, considering his tone, we're going to really teach him a lesson. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll get more into that in a minute, but I just wanted to make sure you knew about it. If you know, if not, take a peek at it while we were talking. But I got that sent to me today, and I was like, what? 25? Like, not that 25 games isn't significant, but when you talk about, well, we're gonna get him. They made such a big deal about saying we're gonna wait till the end of the NBA Finals to announce it.
Yeah, the way Adam Silver was talking about it during the draft lottery and stuff, and anytime he made public appearances talking about it, he made it sound like it was going to be a pretty harsh punishment. But 25
This is the
games
equivalent of a
doesn't seem like
4-game suspension in the National Football League.
Mm.
If you think about it, it's about a quarter of the season.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about a 4-game suspension in the NFL. It's almost exactly right there. And if the NFL had a big issue with Morant doing the things that he's done, and that's the part that we'll debate here in a little bit. But the point is, if that is against their shield, 4 games is kind of a I mean, what is 25 games in the NBA?
Let's see, 82 regular season games, so
it's a quarter of the season, but what I mean is, what is 25 games in the NBA? It's the first part of the season nobody watches anyways.
yeah, and it's not enough to really leave a dent in the Grizzlies season. I think they'll be just fine.
I mean, not considering how much money he makes.
No, and it won't affect them much at all.
It's going to be a drop in the bucket. Yeah, I'm sure the numbers will come out. Someone will have it broken down how much money it'll be, but you have to compare it against, well, how much is he going to make anyways this coming year? So,
yeah.
Anyways, I've got my Jorge Soler World Series MVP jersey on today. It is Red Friday, Braves always wear their home reds on Friday. And it took me a while to get this damn thing. So, real quick story on that. My stepfather passed away maybe a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we were having a service for him, and my mom wanted me to cook and et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And the two things about him is that he was originally from Cuba and loved baseball.
Mm.
So it wasn't a formal affair, and I was trying to figure out what I could wear to said event, because I was going to be doing most of the cooking. And I was like, man, a jersey would be cool. Let me see if originally I was looking for was a Cuban baseball hat. I figured with the WBC just being played, it'd be easy to find. I couldn't find one.
Mm.
So I was like, all right. They were all sold out, so that tells you how popular the thing was.
Mm-hmm.
This is on eBay, Amazon. You name the site, I went there.
Mm.
So I was like, all right, well, what can I do? And I started looking at Cuban born players. I go, oh, that's right. Soler's from there. Well, come on, let's get it.
There you go.
And I found it. And it's supposed to be there like 5-6 days before the, I don't know what you would really call that. It wasn't really a wake because it took place weeks after the event, but he was cremated. He wasn't buried. So, anyways, the service, I was supposed to get it on like a Tuesday. The service was on a Sunday. Plenty of time. That damn thing showed up Monday morning after the service.
That's frustrating.
Yes.
That's frustrating.
Man. So I ended up wearing a baseball hat, but it was just I was very disappointed on that whole thing.
Yeah, I imagine that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for your loss.
Anyways, that's the story by why I have a Jorge Soler jersey on. Because I don't know I don't think I've worn it on the show yet. I know I haven't told this story, so I don't think I've worn it on the show. And I was like, I'd kind of forgotten that I had it at this point because I never wore it that day. Mm-hmm. And it was laying here in my office, and I was like, which one's that? Because I've got one with Olsen. I've got an old Julio Franco one. And I was like, which one is it? Oh, Soler.
Mm-hmm.
Bastards. That's the first thing I saw when I saw the jersey. I didn't think of him slamming that home run was bastards. Show up 12 hours after the event.
Mm.
You order the damn thing 2 weeks ahead, and it says,
and that should give them plenty of time to get it.
I ordered from a company in Florida, but for whatever reason, they mailed it from Florida to New York, then it got stuck in transit, and then eventually made it back to Florida.
Mm.
I was like, damn it, dude, I could have walked over there and gotten it.
They should have had that thing to you in 2 days.
Yeah, it was Tampa was the city that the company was at. But anyways, we get sidetracked. That's what I do. Let's get into doing our mini camps, football mini camps, and I wanted to get these off the docket because these are the teams that are near and dear to the hearts of the guys that do the show. But we will end up doing a lot of your normal SEC, ACC, NFC South, AFC South type of football. But I wanted to get these off the docket so we kind of launch it and get it going. We'll end up doing Notre Dame next week with Joey. Yesterday we took one for the team and took USC and UCLA off the docket. So it gets much more exciting as the weeks go on. Essentially, there's a couple that I'm like, well, I feel like I have to do this one.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday was one of those ones. I'm like, USC is going to be they're going to be a playoff contender. They're going to have the guy that everybody's going to be tanking for.
Yeah.
And UCLA, let me get your take on this. We have them just on the outside looking into the playoffs. Does USC finally crack the door open and get the playoffs?
If it's not this year, I don't have a lot of hope for them. I know that defense was terrible last year, but they got Caleb Williams, the best quarterback in the country, in year 3. I think they get in this year. I do think they get in. I don't know if I'm confident in saying they'll be the 1 seed. I think they might drop a game and drop a couple rankings, but I think they crack that top 4.
See, because of that defense, it's why I've got them on the outside looking in. Because I do think, even though they're in the Pac-12, and we all know what the narratives always are in the Southeast, because, man, it's funny how Southern sports fans will talk about elitist. You know, they'll sit there and talk about, oh man, you know, there's a Yankee or a Red Sox bias and da 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 da. I've lived all over, man. There's no bigger bias in sports than a Southern college football fan, because they believe that the only teams that belong in the playoffs are the ones that they see on Saturdays.
Yep.
They believe if you don't play in the SEC, then you better play east of the Mississippi and south of the Mason-Dixon line.
Yep.
So, you know, in other words, if it's not an Southeastern Conference team, you better be picking a Clemson, a Florida State in a good year. You better be picking, you know, they'll even give you, if, like, let's say for whatever reason, some phenomenal reason, Virginia has an incredible year. They'll give you that. But don't at me with, you know, some Pac-12 team.
No, they don't give a lot of love to those teams. It's always SEC first.
Yeah, always. It doesn't matter where I've lived in the Southeast, man. It does not matter. I lived in Tallahassee, Florida. And most of the fans are like, well, you know, SEC, man, SEC. Yep. And that was during a time period where you could make the argument that wasn't really the case. But the SEC heads, man, we are the most locked into our... You ain't playing Southeastern football. You ain't playing nobody. And look, don't get me wrong. When I lived in the Northeast, the Yankee fan, the Red Sox fan, they don't respect the Rays, the Braves, all those teams, because they don't watch them on a daily basis, so they think their team is going to beat your team.
Yeah.
But anyways, my point was going to be USC loses a game early. Everyone's going to say, everyone on our show, on our kickoff show that starts in a couple of months, we'll all be saying, well, that's it, man. That's it. They're done. But if they win, I don't care what the loss is. If USC has one loss and wins the Pac-12 championship, they'll get in.
Yeah.
Because they're Southern Cal, and they're going to find a way to get them in.
Yeah.
My biggest concern is, with that whole argument is, I don't think that defense is going to be good enough to not – and they don't have the hardest of schedules. But it's just going to take 2 losses, 2 games out of 13 where the defense doesn't keep you, under 40.
Well, I'm not as much. The defense we know is going to be consistently bad. My concern is that if there's just 2 games out of the season where the offense is in a slouch and they can't put up points on the board or they're turning the ball over too much, that's my concern. The defense we know is going to suck. USC defense was horrific last year, and it probably will this year. So all it takes is a couple games where the offense isn't showing up.
Right.
That's when USC has problems.
But also, what do we call not showing up? They might go out there and score 26 points, and we go, man, that offense sucks. But it's because the defense gave up 40.
Yeah.
Right? So it really comes down to, can the offense go out and hit on all cylinders 12 of 13 games?
And that's a tough ask.
Man, that's a tough ask. Yeah, it really is. If you don't have a defense, and look, defense isn't what it used to be in college football with all the rule changes. And also, I do also believe it is the maturation of the young quarterback, not just in college football, NFL across the board. And a lot of it has to do with, you can argue nutrition, but it really has to do with technology. When I was growing up as a kid, you could not, I don't care how prepared you were, you could not be nearly as prepared. The quarterback for, who was a powerhouse when I was a kid growing up? The quarterback for Notre Dame, the quarterback for Miami or Florida State in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
They couldn't be nearly as prepared for a ball game as the quarterback for Middle Tennessee State today.
I can't argue that.
Because you got the iPads. You've got all of the action right there at your fingertips. So.
You have iPads. You have the drones for film and all that. It's a lot, yeah. It's a lot. I can't argue that. There's so much at disposal nowadays, technology-wise. I mean, yeah.
Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the football camps. I do want to make a comment here. I'm hearing rumbling. Once again, this terrible summer continues here in the Southeast. So if we get knocked off, it's because of the power issue. Because we went through it yesterday, and it looks like more and more today. Hopefully, everything keeps going. But I don't think you got affected from that yesterday. But, man, that storm yesterday was just brutal throughout the Southeast. It was absolutely brutal. Looking at it today, if we can dodge it between the 4 and 5 o'clock hour, we might be okay. But we'll see what happens. Let's get into the Arizona Cardinals. I got my notes. I'm ready for you, man. I'm ready to see what those Arizona Cardinals can do. I talked about this yesterday, but all my Bibles showed up, man. I got my college football, my pro football. I got 2 college footballs. Let's go.
You're ready.
Yeah, this is all I buy throughout the year, magazines-wise. I'll buy one baseball one, but they're usually – I don't really reference them much. I usually just buy it because you see it in January, like, this is awesome. The problem with buying the baseball annuals is the free agency drags out throughout the preseason. You buy a baseball annual that is printed in the end of December, early January. They don't know who the hell's playing for anybody yet.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into Arizona. You got a new regime. I'm going to give you the floor. You give me what's got going on here for your Arizona Cardinals here in 2023.
Well, first things first, I don't have a lot of hope for this team. I'm not expecting a lot of wins.
Well, ain't that a great way to start this? All right, man.
I'm not gonna sit up here and pretend to be all positive about this team. It's one of the worst rosters in football, and our quarterback is still not healthy yet. And I don't know if Kyler will play. That's something I'm not sure about. If we start out 1-6 or something like that, is there much use of bringing him back at that point? I don't really think so. So I'm not expecting a lot of great football from this team, especially with the year one coach. I like Gannon. I like what he's done. He's moved some guys around positionally, and I think that could help them. And I like the way he talks. I have a lot more faith in him than I did in Cliff Kingsbury. I also like our GM a lot more. I like Monty Ossenfort. I love what he did with the draft. So I am excited to see the rookie class. I'll say that. That's one of the things I'm mainly looking forward to seeing this year. There's a couple guys switching positions. Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins are both moving. Isaiah Simmons, the linebacker, he's going to be moving to defensive back. And Zaven Collins, he'll be playing edge rusher this year. So some changes there for some first-round picks. I'm not expecting a lot of wins, but I'm hoping to see some good play from our rookies and some of the guys we're bringing in. And I just
you don't see that a lot in the National Football League. Guys changing positions.
No, but
you see it in college football, right? You'll see a coordinator come in, and he comes over from Texas. He's taking over, Georgia State or whatever, and he goes, "Hey, no, you need to learn. You're 18, 19. You need to learn how to play edge rusher. You're too slow to be a safety, right, or whatever the deal is." You'll see it in the NFL much.
No, you don't. But my guess is that Jonathan Gannon's trying to mold these guys into players he had on defense back in Philly. I don't know if it's going to work. I think Isaiah Simmons, he's very versatile, and he played a lot of DB in Clemson. He's also had some reps at safety in the NFL. So I think it could work. I think it could be a smooth
When you
transition.
say defensive back, is that what they're looking at? Is safety or
Probably safety, but he's taken snaps all over the field, even in the professionals. Like he's played at corner a little bit, not a lot, but there's been times where he's lined up at like nickel. He's played safety quite a bit. Obviously, linebacker is main position, and then he's come off the edge before. But they're planning on moving him to probably safety for a majority of the snaps now, opposed to linebacker. And I think it could be a positive change, especially with us probably losing Budda Baker.
Yeah. So, what is the deal with Budda Baker nowadays?
He's back at the facility. I don't know if he's reported to mini camps and stuff. I don't know what the deal is. I think the trade request still stands.
Yeah, because
but I'm not sure if they're
the
going to get it
quote that
done.
I came up with, I don't mean to cut you off, but the quote that I found was that if the Cardinals weren't going to make him the highest paid safety in the league, he wanted a trade out of Arizona.
And trade him. Because he's not the best safety in the league. I love Budda Baker, and I think he's a great leader for this team.
Didn't he just get a contract extension?
He did just get a contract extension too, and that's another reason that I'm not too happy with that. And something that I'll make note of that frustrates me is I know people had a lot of gripe for Kyler Murray whenever he was not showing up to training camp when he was trying to work on that contract extension. And say what you want about whether or not he deserved what he got paid, but people have no words for Budda Baker, even though he does not deserve that extension. He does not deserve to be the highest paid safety in the league. All I see is Cardinals fans talking about how we need to keep him happy because he's the leader of this team. He's not acting like it. And if he wants to walk, if he isn't getting paid the most in the league among safeties, let him walk. We're a rebuilding team. We don't need him. He's not the best safety in the league. It should be a pretty simple decision. Go get a pick for him and just cut ties. That's what I think about the situation.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name, but do you remember the safety that demanded a trade from the Jets that went out?
Jamal Adams?
Yes, Jamal Adams. It reminds me of the same situation where he had just gotten an extension, then all of a sudden he didn't want to play for the Jets.
Yep.
Which is really ironic now because, if you would have stayed with the Jets, I think you're in a much better situation. Not that it's doomsday in Seattle, but, I mean, everyone.
But he also saw a bit of a decline in Seattle, play-wise. He was a great fit in New York. He was doing great for the Jets, but he hasn't been worth those 2 first-round picks they gave up for him.
No, and who is worth that?
No, not any safety in my mind. Maybe Minkah Fitzpatrick. You can make an argument for him. But safeties aren't a valuable enough position to net that type of return anymore. So if we can just get a day 2 pick for him, I'm happy.
And so you got the Budda Baker thing. And then the other thing that I came across I found interesting is that they're talking about how the head coach coming in from Philadelphia that obviously wants to kind of build the team like the Eagles. So he's going to try to lean on building the defense, et cetera, et cetera. But that also expects to be a much more concentrated on the running game. And is James Conner going to be your bell cow this year?
He probably will be because unless there's some late-round pick rookie or undrafted rookie maybe who steps up big time, I think it'll be him. I don't hate it. I don't like him as a bell cow running back. I think he's good in short yardage situations. But if we're going to rely heavily on the run, we need a more a running back who can catch passes out of the backfield to go along with them, a running back who can do the things that he can do. So it's going to be tough to completely rely on the run game this year if it's just James Conner. But we can't rely on the passing game. I can tell you that much. Well, no. I don't even know who our quarterback is.
No, I can't say that the passing game is. That was going to be my next question to you. Is it? Is it Colt McCoy?
It might be Colt McCoy. It might be Clayton Tune, the rookie we picked late. He's looked solid in training camp so far. He could maybe start. I think it would ultimately be Colt McCoy. But regardless, I'm not confident in the passing game, especially with the loss of Hopkins too. It doesn't help our case.
Yeah, that's Colt McCoy can help manage. I mean, he's the ultimate game manager. And I know that's a slap in the face to a lot of guys. They don't like to be called that, but he is.
Yes.
Colt McCoy is 123 yards waiting to happen, right?
Yeah.
That's he's going to be
check downs and handoff
15 of 19. He won't throw any interceptions, 123 yards, and you hope you can squeeze out a 16-14 victory.
It's nothing but check downs and handoffs all game with him. We saw it anytime he stepped up when Kyler got hurt in the last couple of years. It's very boring, but he doesn't turn the ball over. I'll give him that.
And so when you look at that, my next big question would be the wide receiver position.
Yes.
Because obviously Marquise Brown is the man now.
Yep.
With D-Hop being gone. And Rondale Moore, when he's been healthy, he's been good.
He's been solid.
But the problem is keeping him healthy. What did you get? Probably around 7-ish games from him last year?
It wasn't much. And I know a lot of it had to do with, okay, we suck. Let's shut him down for the year so he doesn't get hurt again. But he still wasn't very reliable. He gets hurt a lot, and it's typically leg injuries, a lot of hamstring injuries with him.
There's nothing better than load management in the National Football League, right? You're like, what the hell,
I mean,
man?
it happened with Hopkins last year.
We got 17 freaking games, man. Can we play?
Yep. I know. Believe me, I agree. And we sat Hopkins last year after he got hurt and the season was down the drain. We just sat him for a few games, and now he's gone, of course. But yeah,
Zach Ertz going to be ready to roll?
I don't think so. No, because he tore his ACL and MCL late in the year, so I'd be pretty surprised if he was ready to go week 1. If he did, that'd be a very impressive comeback because it was a serious knee injury, and it happened a couple weeks after or a week or two after Kyler got hurt, and Kyler's timetable is midway through the season.
Do you remember what week that was around about?
Let's see.
For Ertz, because if he, I thought it was as early as November, but if it was later, it's going to be tough.
I think it was late November.
Okay.
So I'm seeing December 8th, he had surgery to repair both his ACL and MCL.
So for argument's sake, we'll just say it happened beginning of December. Yeah, man, that's going to be tough.
I wouldn't. And there's really no need to rush him back.
Taking the knife, you're going to have to go in and 10 months after taking the knife, you're going to have to go in and man, that's going to be rough.
And it's not just the ACL either; it's the MCL too. So a longer recovery period, more rehab. So look, and even if he does somehow get healthy by week 1, I'd still like to see what we got with Trey McBride, who was our 2nd-round pick last year at tight end. I'd like to see him get some reps. That's the main thing I'm excited for this year with the Cardinals is seeing how the guys.
Trade Ertz, trade Budda Baker, trade Murray. Let's just.
Hey, I'm not saying trade Ertz. We wouldn't get anything for him, and he's a good tight end to have around.
Trade the name.
Good presence in the locker room. But
let's go.
I will say though, I'm mostly excited to see our rookies this year. Some of the rookies from last year who didn't get to play too much. I want to see what they can contribute, and I'm also looking forward to the draft next year.
I got a question from one of our viewers. It was the one to ask you, and I like this one. Cardinals, because we talk about them getting confused with the St. Louis Cardinals. If they ever change their name, they said we're tired of getting confused with the St. Louis Cardinals. We're going to be called the Arizona whatevers. Would you stick with them, or would?
Yeah.
So so if they became the Arizona Cacti, you would be like, I'm in.
Well, that's a little ridiculous. That's on par with the Pelicans name change.
But whatever they chose, you would stick with. You wouldn't be like, dude, I've been a Cardinal fan my whole life. I can't do it anymore.
I would stick with them. I would not wear a Cactus hat or shirt, though. I can tell you that much. You wouldn't see me walking around with the Arizona Cacti jersey on.
Is cacti even a name? Is it even a word? Is plural of cactus
that's the plural of cactus. So.
Let's look that up in the break. Is plural of cactus cacti? I just said that. I'm not 1,000% that it is. I just feel like I've heard it, and I'm starting to like the name Arizona Cacti.
I don't. don't give them any ideas.
Cacti.
They already came out with those terrible uniforms. It wouldn't shock me if they had a bad name, too.
All right. We'll have the answer to that nonsense and much more when we come back. We'll see you on the other side of the break, assuming this storm doesn't knock us out. You're listening to Braves Country today here on 99.1 FM, WQEE, and Braves Country HD, YouTube.com. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Yesterday, Brian Snicker was asked about Jesse Chavez, then Kyle Wright and Max Fried as they try to work their way back to the team.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, we couldn't afford to go 4 or 5 days, with that position and not fill it. You can't even walk on it yet, so and really you don't know how long it'll be. So especially after yesterday in the doubleheader, we needed to, I think if he'd have came in and was strong and walking around today, I think we probably would have been okay to wait a couple of days, but it looks like it's longer than that.
I feel like you've been playing this survival game for a while.
Yeah, it is. It is survival is what it is. I mean, you just patch things up and go get them, I guess.
With Kyle, we haven't asked about him for a while. Do you have anything to do with him?
Yeah, no, he's kind of happy today. He was cleared to start his throwing program, so that's good. Passed all the tests and everything, so, he'll, in the near future, be starting his throwing program and working his way back.
And where is Max and his?
He's throwing. Everything's going good. I mean, it's just going to take time to build him back up. So, at some point in time, hopefully we get all 3 of the guys back, which will be really good.
Is he going getting close to a live
BP? No. He just kind of showing I think they call them the short box things where they're on the mound, but the catcher's standing up in front of the plate and stuff like that. So, they're going to be sure. It's been a long time now, and we'll work to get him back and do it right. He's got to get on there, like I say, and start throwing real sides and then some live BPs and graduate from there. But it's all good. I mean, they all feel great. That's what the good thing is. They're doing their long tosses and all that other stuff, and him and Dylan both say they feel great. So that's really good. And I think once they, get on that mound and turn it loose there, then if they're feeling good then it's, just a matter of time before we can build them back up.
Max Fried on the 60-day IL, as is Kyle Wright. They are both expected back well after the All-Star break, while Jesse Chavez is on the 15-day IL. They hope that it's just that stint. We'll keep you updated right here on Braves Country today as information becomes available. Full slate of Major League Baseball here on a Friday, a TGI Friday. The Atlanta Braves continue their series with the Colorado Rockies. 7:20 first pitch right here on Braves Country HD. Find us on YouTube today. Braves Country HD will bring you pitch-by-pitch, play-by-play of your Atlanta Braves. Jared Schuster will be on the mound versus Dinelson Lamet. Schuster 3-2 with a 5.05. Lamet comes in 1-3 and a 10.38 ERA. Atlanta minus 240 on the money line. Over/under is 10.5. Other games in the National League East started off with the Marlins and Nationals going head-to-head. Sandy Alcantara versus Trevor Williams. The over/under 8.5, minus 160 on the money line. Cardinals and Mets renew their old NL East rivalry from years ago. Mikolas on the mound for the Redbirds. Metropolitans will send Tyler McGill. McGill 5-4 with a 5.14. Mikolas 4-3 with a 4.02. It's a pick'em. Over/under is 9. And at 9:40 Eastern, Philadelphia will continue their road trip. Taijuan Walker versus JP Sears. Philly minus 135 on the money line. Over/under 8.5. Got Friday afternoon baseball. Orioles are at the Cubs. Baltimore comes in 43-25 on the season. While they're 18 over 500, the Cubs are 6 under, but coming off a 3-game sweep of the Pirates. It's Cole Irvin, 1-2 with a 7.85 versus Kyle Hendricks. He's 1-2 with a 3.09, coming off a near no-hitter in his last turn. Chicago minus 130 on the money line. Over/under is 8.5. Red Sox and Yankees are back at it again, this time in Boston. Domingo Germán versus Tanner Houck. Boston minus 125 on the money line. Over/under 9.5. Blue Jays and Rangers over/under 9. Toronto minus 145 on the money line. It's Kevin Gausman versus Martin Perez. Angels are at the Royals at 8-10. The Sandoval versus Singer. The Reds are at the Astros. Young Abbott 2-0 with a 0.00 ERA. He'll face off against JP France. Houston minus 170 on the money line. 8.5 is the over/under. Tigers are at the Twins at 8-10. Joe Ryan Day for Minnesota. Pirates at Brewers. Rich Hill versus Julio Teheran. The former Brave is 1-2 with a 1.48 ERA so far on the season. Milwaukee, minus 120 on the money line, over-under is 9. Guardians at the Diamondbacks at 940. McKenzie versus Gallen. Rays are at the Padres. Should be a good series. McClanahan versus Darvish to start it off. San Diego, minus 115, over-under 7.5. White Sox at the Mariners. Michael Kepik versus Wu. Seattle, minus 140, over-under 7.5. Brebbia, 10:10 Eastern versus Sheehan in Los Angeles. One of the great rivalries in all of sports. San Francisco Giants at the LA Dodgers. LA minus 140 on the money line, over under 8.5. And your college baseball World Series begins this afternoon. Oral Roberts versus TCU. Tonight, number 7 Virginia versus number 2 Florida. And tomorrow, number 1 Wake Forest versus number 8 Stanford and the Tennessee Volunteers. 7 Eastern, Saturday evening, ESPN, they'll face number 5 LSU. This is a double elimination round robin tournament. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Newnan, Georgia, simulcasting on YouTube.com at Braves Country.
I am definitely down for some rock climbing.
Yeah, me too. I am down. I am totally down. Mark me down.
Cool. So, what do you say we climb a rock mañana?
Mañana. Mañana might be a problem. I'm supposed to have a boil lanced mañana. You know, I think they charge me if I cancel with only one mañana's notice.
Welcome back. Cubs and Orioles in a good one. Wrigley Field on Friday afternoon action. I don't know how they could do it, but I think Major League Baseball should make it mandatory that the Chicago Cubs play on Friday afternoon every single Friday during the season. I don't know how they can make that happen, but I'd like to see it happen. There's something about Friday afternoon baseball, Chicago Cubs, even though I don't have a dog in the hunt, seeing them, knowing that it's getting your weekend going. And against the Orioles, I mean, that's actually a pretty interesting matchup. I think it was Kyle Hendricks versus Cole Irvin. And I happened to see Cole Irvin in a minor league game a few weeks ago. Had to go to an event, and the Orioles just happened to be the team that was playing. And I looked out there, and I saw it up on the score. I was like, is Cole Irvin pitching? I had no idea that he was coming back. I thought they'd given up on him, and sure enough, he's in this game. It must have pitched fairly well to keep him in the ball game. But that's what you got going on there. And you got a bunch of games going on tonight, Major League Baseball. Don't forget 99.1 FM tonight. 7:05 first pitch. You got the Chattahoochee versus the Atlanta Crackers. And the pregame show come your way. 6:50 first pitch. I think, is the pregame show called the Hoot pregame show? I'll have to get that verified by Ryan. He used to put that in the memo, and now it just says pregame show. But I feel like I've got a good name for the pregame show. Are you ready for this?
What's that?
Give a Hoot.
I like it.
The Give a Hoot pregame show. That's what I would call it.
It's a good one.
Anyways, the Hoots, Chattahoochee are at it tonight, 7:05 first pitch. And then if you're streaming on Braves Country HD YouTube, we are doing Braves Country Baseball, play pitch by pitch, Rockies Braves Game 2, and pregame show will come on around 6:45, and then first pitch 7:20. So we're looking forward to that, and hopefully Braves can get win number 2. We're waiting Mr. Tones to jump in as he will help us continue the draft. So he picks right before you in this all-time fantasy football draft.
Yep.
I did not think that out. What I should have done is I should have had you go before him. That way you could have led in each time and have you go. I did not think that one out. But anyways, what I should have done is given you 4, me 5, and then that way we wait for him to show up and he goes back to back and away we go. But we will await his pick. And is he? I thought I saw someone. Someone's climbing in here. Hey, he's climbing in here.
There it is.
I don't see his actual video, so that might be an issue. But we'll see what's going on here. Tones, are you there?
I'm here, brother. My video's here. I'm here. We're all good.
There you are. Okay, I see your video now. All I saw was your profile picture.
I was planning a sneak attack.
And we got it verified. I checked it in the break. Cacti is the plural. Tones, if you missed it, I'm pushing for Arizona Cardinals to be renamed the Arizona Cacti. And if they do that, I will become a fan. I will support Arizona. I think they could come up with a cool logo, man. You take some cactus and you put it in front of like a sunset scene in Arizona. Put that on the helmet. Let's go.
All right, maybe you can make the helmet look good, but there's not much else that would look good about that.
And you could do something to the effect of, your chant can be something like, because it's, the little pricklies that are all over the cacti. You could do something like, no one beats a good prick from, Arizona. Something like that, right?
Oh, man.
Go cacti! I'm pushing for the cacti. Because it's ridiculous to have the Arizona Cardinals with the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, how long has this been going on? St. Louis Cardinal football team. I know they came from Chicago, but they had to have named that after the St. Louis Cardinal baseball team as far back as that goes. When they came back, they should. When they came to St. Louis, they should have changed the name, right? This is well overdue. All right. Where are we at? We're going to get into the I guess let's do the draft first, and then we'll talk about the cool games. Mr. Tones, you are on the board.
And I'm quarterbackless to this point. A lot of good ones still there. A lot of good ones gone. Needing 2 quarterbacks, I think I almost have to go quarterback. And
Brad Johnson.
Yeah, maybe Brad Johnson. Maybe Sean
Williams.
King.
Yeah, Sean King. I forgot about Sean King.
Maybe Trent Dilfer, but...
Oh, yeah, that'd be a great fantasy one. Does he get extra points for handoffs?
Handoffs and turnovers, you're getting the points actually there. No, but without further ado, with all joking aside, I think, man, I've researched these quarterbacks in, man. I went back to the Otto Graham days all the way to the modern days. I did my best of literally digging it up, and I'm here to take Mr. Tom Brady.
Shocker.
I'm taking the 07 Patriots Brady, where I actually have Randy Moss too, so that was quite the year. Brady had 4,806 passing yards that year, 50 touchdowns to go along with 2 rushing touchdowns as well, and 100 rushing yards, which for him I was pleasantly surprised actually to see him have 100 rushing yards. And then
that's probably the most shocking stat.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, hey, I'll take those points. And then 2021 Brady with the Bucs, 5,316 passing yards, 43 passing touchdowns, and 2 rushing touchdowns to go along with 81 rushing yards. So not the fleetest of feet for him, not the rushing quarterback that we're used to nowadays in fantasy, but he aligns more with the Aaron Rodgers, Drew Breeses, Peyton Manning.
07 was the year that they went undefeated in the regular season, right?
Yep, and they lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl, correct.
So they didn't he have like 50 touchdowns that year, somewhere in that neighborhood?
Yep, 50 passing, 2 rushing.
Okay.
So not too bad, not too shabby for Tom Patrick Edward Brady.
All right, Bobby the Kid. You got Aaron Rodgers, you got LT, you got Run CMC, you got 8 Antonio Brown. Where are you going with your next pick?
I know I already have 2 running backs, but I want another one. Give me Edgerrin James in 1999 and 2000, the Hall of Famer. 2 of his best seasons, 2 great fantasy seasons. not super high on my list, but I think I have a very strong trio of running backs right now, and I'll circle back to the other positions shortly.
What is the years one more time?
1999 and 2000.
Man.
Cool. I'm putting it in the chat.
You know, I'm a little surprised that he wasn't already gone with Joey. I thought Joey was going to grab him. I'm a little surprised.
I was thinking about it today as well. If I didn't need a quarterback, I was seriously considering Edgerrin James.
All right. So y'all going to have to give me a second, and as I have to try to navigate this as I try to host the show. So I'm going to punt it to y'all and talk about some cool games and kind of go over the games that y'all might have had in your mind. And while you're doing that, I'm going to make sure that I got my 2 picks, and then we'll come back to my picks and do your picks.
Awesome.
So
cool.
Let's start with Tones. Tones, what game is the cool game of the weekend, and the reasons and all that kind of stuff?
Well, we're pretty much with the great sport of baseball at this point in time. Baseball, which I have no problem with and I love. Real quick note here. I bet you Tom Brady is probably the player with the most years apart that anyone takes in this thing, too, in 2007 and 2021. I don't know if we'll have another 14-year difference in players taken. But nonetheless, cool games. I'm going with Tampa Bay Rays, San Diego Padres. First pitch is 9:40 Eastern tonight. Padres are a little slow out of the gate, but with that big payroll, they're never boring to watch, and they still have playoff inspirations as well. And the Tampa Bay Rays are the first team in baseball to win 50 ball games. How awesome is that? Pretty incredible feat right there. So it's been beautiful to see. Rays at Padres tonight, 9:40 Eastern. Oh, and it gets a little better. 2 fellows named Shane McClanahan and Yu Darvish are on the mound. So a battle of some behemoth pitchers there, and McClanahan's looking pretty ripe for AL Cy Young right now as well. So the Rays got a good thing going right now, and I don't think it's stopping anytime soon. And the Padres have a big payroll. They got to start playing up to the hype.
Let me ask you something real quick about the baseball. Orioles Cubs series.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Madrigal just tried to lay down a bunt. I think they might have got him on the hand. No?
Cubs up 6-2 as well.
Yeah, they just got it. Well, I thought they got him on the hand, but he's back up there batting again, so I guess they didn't. He was shaking his hand like they got it. Any plans to go to either one of those games this weekend?
I was at yesterday's game against Pittsburgh. That was pretty fun. I'd be going this weekend. I was actually considering, but with Father's Day, and then I'm having a couple it's not my birthday yet, but I'm celebrating my birthday early tomorrow as well. And then with the 120 game today, I couldn't find time to get down there. Although I'd love to, I just couldn't make it happen.
What are your Father's Day plans?
We're going to hang with the Pops. We're going to get some good grub. We're going to watch some good old baseball and comfortability and get some good grub. And I put together a nice little package for him. He might be listening right now, so I don't want to, come out and
fair
say
enough.
what I got him. I'll just say it is centered around the game we all love and that we're talking about right now. So, it's good stuff. It's good. I'll let you guys know Monday his
Bobby,
reaction.
do you have any big plans for Father's Day?
I don't. I'll probably go and grab dinner with my dad. My sister might tag along too. Nothing crazy planned, and we might hang out tomorrow. We might go to the lake. So,
is he a big sports fan?
Yeah. Mostly football. Mostly football's his thing. So,
is he the one that got you into the Cardinals?
He is not. He's a Vikings fan.
Is he from Minnesota?
Yeah.
Oh, I was about to say, those random teams y'all are pulling for.
No, he has a good reason to root for the Vikings. Don't worry.
Ah, man, he's diehard Oregon State Beavers, man. You can't keep. Man, what in the world? I can't find. All right, Bobby, your cool games.
My cool game. I got Giants-Dodgers. It's a big NL West matchup all weekend. The series kicks off tonight at 10:10 Eastern Time. It's a big rivalry. Two good teams in the NL West, second and third place right now.
What's your what game are you looking forward to the most in that series?
Probably tonight's. Let me pull up the matchup.
So this weekend, Yankees Red Sox are the Sunday night game again. That's 2 weeks in a row, and I was like, well, maybe there isn't a big-time draw for another. And I see her go, Dodgers and Giants are playing. Why the hell aren't they the Sunday night game? We just had Yankees-Red Sox.
For real, though.
I mean, I'm not trying to trash them, but come on.
We know that matchup always gets favoritism.
It does, and I get that. I get the part of the fact that, well, I mean, there's a lot of different ways that, you can argue on both sides, but just something different. Because it's back-to-back weeks. It would be different if it had been like a month, right?
I think Rays Padres would have been a fun game.
Well, yeah, but ESPN's looking for actual viewers.
Tampa's top 10 in the TV market for baseball.
Yeah, but their fans do not come to their fans don't support them.
In TV, they do, though. I will say they're top 10 in television market. In attendance, you got a point, but on television,
I can just tell you from living in the Florida area.
I'm talking about strictly television because we were talking about.
I understand that, but I can just tell you from nobody follows the Rays down here. I mean,
right, but we're talking about Sunday night baseball, so
you're not beating.
And it's not in Tampa; it's in San Diego.
Right, it's got nothing to do with that. It's fans coming to. It's kind of like the whole argument of when the NHL playoffs came about, and I don't know if y'all saw those numbers, but. The NHL finals were down 43% from last year. 43 freaking percent because the Florida Panthers have no fan base. And I'm not going to put it all on them. It was Vegas too, right? But the problem with the Padres and the Rays, for me, that's a great game. I'd love to watch it. But your average fan, your run-of-the-mill fan, you're going to have a hard time getting them to the TV versus San Diego versus Tampa Bay. Because the San Diego fan base isn't as rabid as the Dodgers. I'm talking about nationwide. I'm not talking about in their pockets of where they live. Where they live, yeah, absolutely. They're big fans. But I just, Dodgers, Giants, come on. It doesn't get any older and bigger than that. And it's not like the Dodgers and Giants play in Albuquerque and, downtown, small town in Wisconsin. You just name one. It's Los Angeles and San Francisco.
The thing is, no one really wants to watch the Giants nowadays with the roster they've constructed. I know they're still okay, but they're not the same old Giants.
4 or 5 games over 500, though.
Yeah, I know, but they just don't have the star power, right? They don't provide views or clicks, I feel like, which MLB's looking for nowadays, seemingly putting on Red Sox and Yankees.
Who the hell do the Red Sox have? I don't even want to come to. I mean, maybe Devers.
Yoshida's fun, too. And Verdugo. They got a nice little bunch over there.
Maybe that's got a lot to do with it. Maybe they're trying to get the Japanese market. I don't know.
I think so. I think you hit a really good point right there because I feel like I forget the stat exactly, but I know during the World Baseball Classic, Yoshida was like one of the most searched upon baseball players.
Well, then get ready to see them next year all the time because I think he'll be a Dodger.
Ohtani?
Yeah.
I could see that. I mean, don't you think he's going to stay on the West Coast probably too?
I really think it comes between the Dodgers and Giants. I really do.
I think the Giants would be awesome if they
got him. It would be cool. Would it not? And to your point, it would give them some kind of marquee player.
And they've been looking for that star. It's not their fault they got burnt by Carlos Correa.
They got burnt by Correa. They got burnt by Judge. Remember, what's his name? Heyman? He came out, he still hasn't lived that down. 6 months ago, he came out and broke the story. The Judge was signing with the Giants, and then that narrative changed in 6 hours. Everyone went to bed, and they woke up and go, wait a minute, what do you mean he's staying in New York?
That was crazy. That was like when Antonio Brown went to the Bills, allegedly. You remember that, too? And then it came out a couple hours later. Nope.
Or that time Antonio Brown stripped down naked in the middle of the field.
No, we don't remember that time.
We all remember that one time. No, we all remember the many times Antonio Brown went viral.
Oh man,
He's never really
goofball.
taken advantage of that.
No, I mean he's made bad rap music now, if you consider that advantage,
Yeah,
or swimming naked in the pool.
Couldn't he have taken that and spun it into some kind of television deal, right? Something.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and
remember when what did he do? He burned his foot or whatever the hell he pulled a Michael Scott and stepped on the grill. I don't even remember how he burned his foot. You remember that? He burned his foot.
Some chamber he was in.
Yes.
Yeah.
He burned his foot.
He needs to be in a chamber, a psycho chamber, man. He needs the little dudes with the little white coats to pull up. Real quick, let me make my picks. I'm going with Terrell Davis, 1997 and 1998.
Great pick.
That'll be my flex and my wide receiver. I'm going to go. Might as well. I'm going to stack. I couldn't decide if I want to do it. I'm going to do it. Let me stack with Mark Clayton, and I'm going to go with 1984 and 1988. Mark Clayton. As what's funny is most folks growing up, we thought of Duper as being the better of the receivers, but Clayton ended up being the best one in the end.
Yeah, he was, man. Those teams back in the day were, they were lethal.
Well, Duper had the cool name Super Duper, and he was also the deep threat, so everyone fell in love with him. But he really had a craptastic career after, I don't know. You can pick 3 or 4 games. So if you take him in the all-time fantasy, you better hope it hits that game that year. Because if not, you're going to be like, dude, what's the deal? Was he hurt that day? What the hell's going on? Man, Cubs all over the Orioles 9-2. I took the over in that game, man, and I was sitting here sweating when it was 3-2. I was like, man, is this going to go into a bullpen duel and we're going to – nah, man, they're rock. Is Suzuki pitching for y'all? I mean, playing for y'all now?
Yes, sir. He has a couple RBIs today, I believe.
Wait a minute, which Suzuki is that?
Seiya Suzuki.
Oh, okay. Okay, never mind. I was thinking of Kurt Suzuki. I was like, that dude's back.
We have a couple old catchers. We got Jan Gomes and Tucker Barnhart.
I was a big Kurt Suzuki fan.
Same here. I mean, he always was one of those guys.
Did he ever play for the Cubs?
I want to say 3 to 4 seasons ago now.
Kurt Suzuki played for the Cubs?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so. As a backup catcher.
He was he was always platooning in Atlanta. This is right after the Brian McCann era, and obviously before Travis d'Arnaud and Murphy and company. But
my favorite, I remember him. I loved him on the Oakland A's. Kurt Suzuki.
Well, I think he was one of the platoon catchers for the 2019 champion Nats.
He was, yes, sir. Him and Jan Gomes, I believe, were
Pissed
actually.
me off, man. I was like, dude, you leave us and you go to the Nats and you win a World Series. I can't even trash you for it, but I'm still mad. It felt dirty. It felt ugly. Bobby, it's your pick.
Back to me. I'm going to go quarterback here. I'm going to take Drew Brees in 2011 and 2013. 2 of his best seasons. One of the best quarterbacks of all time. Put up some great numbers. A part of that being how bad his defenses were in New Orleans for a few years. So 2011 and 2013 here was his 2 best years.
Now, are you aware that there was football played before 1995?
I am. But listen, I do like to pick guys from my era.
With you, man.
Guys that
I knew you were going to
watched
be
play.
the guy. I knew I was going to be the old head, and you were going
Yeah.
to be the guy with all the kids.
I'm always trying to find an old head. I almost had some real old Packers, but the amount of games some of them have played is just such a hindrance. It's like, man, they could have went off, but 12 games, 14 games.
They were load managing back then. They were.
Oh man,
Mr. Jones, where are you going with your last pick of the day?
I might as well clean the closet on quarterbacks, and he's had one of the best fantasy seasons of all time, in my opinion. I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson, running threat, passing threat. 2019, Lamar Jackson, 3,127 passing yards, 36 passing touchdowns, 1,206 rushing yards, 7 rushing touchdowns. In 2020, Lamar, 2,757 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 1,005 rushing yards, and 7 rushing touchdowns. So a lot of rushing, a little passing, but very good numbers overall.
Yeah, I don't think I mentioned it, but Clayton had 18 touchdown receptions in 84, 1,389 yards. Now, remember, that was with a was that 4? He played 15 games that year. And then 88, he had 14 touchdowns and 1,100. So what I'm hoping from Clayton, and he had, 73 and 86. So what I'm hoping from Clayton when I get Clayton in there is that I'm hoping to double up with, obviously, Marino's as quarterback, and I'm hoping to get touchdown games. I'm hoping to get some receptions. He wasn't a guy that went over 100 yards that often, but when he did, he usually had spectacular games.
He kind of reminds me of a little bit of a Mike Evans in terms of, body of work, a lot of touchdowns, yards is there, but, just a good receiver who's a red zone threat who could put up scores at any time.
Yeah, he was a guy that would typically, honestly, if for folks who don't remember, he was a slot receiver essentially. He would go outside from time to time, but he was a guy that moved the sticks. But he routinely went over 100 yards and routinely got in the end zone. So kind of like a Wes Welker type, essentially, just with a little more athletic ability.
That's lovely to hear. That's a really good player right there.
But if you're gonna stack someone with Marino, that's the guy to stack. Because the rest, it was all, you're just realistically just throwing darts if you pick anybody else.
Correct.
Terrell Davis, by the way, I don't think I threw his stats the years that I picked him. 2,008 yards, 21 touchdowns, 1,750 yards, 15 touchdowns. That was from the running standpoint. So how about
Incredible.
that? How about that?
He was a beast.
Receiving, not much to write home about. And Terrell Davis, Georgia Bulldog.
He was a beast, man.
I don't remember this. Evidently, he played at Long Beach State to begin his career.
I don't remember that either, but I'll believe Wikipedia.
Hunker down, you hairy dogs. Bobby, what is your lock and your walk-off?
My lock, I'm going to the UFC. There's a fight night tomorrow. I got Marvin Vettori money line against Jared Cannonier. It's at -120, one of the toughest guys at middleweight. I'm predicting him to get a win tomorrow. And my walk-off, enjoy a weekend of baseball. And for the UFC fans, like I mentioned, enjoy the fight night tomorrow. And happy early birthday, Tones.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Is it a pay-per-view?
It's not a pay-per-view, no.
Okay.
Catch it on ESPN+.
Come on, Italian.
All right.
The Italian
so
man.
as long as you have
go.
the plus, you can get it, but without the plus, you won't be able to see anything. Right?
I believe so, yeah. I think it's on ESPN+.
All right. So. All right, brother. We will see you next week. And
yes, sir. See you guys.
Yes, sir. When we come back, it's time to open up the mini camp for the Penn State Nittany Lions. We're going to go up north with Tones and his Nittany Lions, talk about the 2023 season and two of the more dynamic players in the country. Be back in a flash here on Braves Country today, getting you ready for Braves Rockies.
Let's go.
Here on a Friday.
That's a joke, boy. You missed it. Went right past you. You gotta keep on your toes.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. So much, I'm going to have to speed things up. You can get the Farmers Signal app, and that could get you up to 15% off your auto policy. That's just for using the app and driving like the normal speed limit adhering, full stop making, lane change signaling human being you are. Get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks. Start with a quote by calling 1-800-FARMERS.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Hey, Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves and bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
Dread running to the post office? Stamps.com brings post office and UPS services right to your computer.
Send letters, ship packages, and get up to 40% off USPS and up to 62% off UPS rates. Nearly 1 million small businesses use Stamps.com to save time and money. It's a no-brainer. So skip the post office and visit Stamps.com.
Sit short.
I'm not playing your stupid game!
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
You're listening to WQEE in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves country. Weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m. Welcome back. Friday, baby.
Woo!
I think Friday's my favorite day. We do the show. It's a football Friday. Normally there's a I call it triple header because I go to my day job. I do the afternoon talk show and then the play-by-play. So, looking forward to tonight's game, but get to talk football with you and Bobby every Friday, and here on the WQEE family, get you set for Chattahoochee versus the Atlanta Crackers. Man, if you go to that game, I feel like you got to keep that ticket stub. No one's going to believe you went to Chattahoochee versus the Crackers.
I want to be a Crackers fan now.
Crack ass cracker. I can't remember what that stand-up was, but I just remember Chris Rock saying it over and over in that stand-up. And then it's even better when you got the U.S. Open. Give you the update that here in a second. And Cubs baseball, they're laying the wood to Baltimore, who's having a really good year. Make sure is this updated? I don't think this is updated. No, it is. Okay. Tones is throwing me off that the U.S. Open being out west. Because I'm expecting when I come in the afternoon to get set for the show that there's going to be some kind of movement, but I mean, your leaders, Fowler and Xander Schauffele, they don't even start for another 20 minutes.
I know, it throws me off too. Every morning I get into work, I check, and then I'm like, wait a minute, nothing's really changing here. It's opposite. East Coast, you're up early. You see the movements happening right away. Here on the other side of the coin, you don't really get much of that. But it seems like a good field, a good competition right now, and it seems like around plus one might be the cut.
You've got, so now today, Harris English went 4 under. He's up to 7 under. I thought they were going to tighten that up and put like ice on it just because the U.S. Open doesn't like you scoring these low scores. Billy Horschel, he is even through 15. Cam Smith, 4 under today. He'll finish 3 under. See if there are any other big names that have played us considerable. What has DeChambeau done? DeChambeau is 4 under, but he's 1 under. Oh, he's just through the first hole. Okay.
Cam Davis had a terrible day today.
Did he?
He ended up +9 on the day, plus 11 overall now, and he made a pretty good surge at the PGA. So he really fell back after making a heady run at the PGA Championship, +11, and looking on the outside in after Friday.
I'm messing with their buddy Brian. He popped in chat, and I gave him that, and all I did is answer back with 9-3, the shellacking that Vegas gave the Panthers the final game. He said it didn't happen. Go Canes. So I just answered back with MTSU. Hello.
Poor Brian, man. His sports teams always get him a little close, and then disappointing.
If he comes at me with any Bengals talk, I'm just gonna say, I love Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes guy.
Did you see this? I think it comes out next month, but I could be wrong on those facts, Tones. But did you see the Netflix is coming out with it's like a, I don't even want to call it a documentary, like a reality show basically, where I guess last year they followed around Kirk Cousins, Patrick Mahomes, and I think Marcus Mariota was the third one. I keep catching the tail end of the conversation, and they're only talking about Mahomes and Cousins, but I'm pretty sure that the Falcons, Mariota was the third quarterback, and if so, that's why I want to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Because as crappy as he did, I want to see what his reaction. Because the other two had great seasons. That's not going to be fun.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be interesting to see that document, or that should be fun. When's that supposed to come out?
Next month. That's all I know. I'll find it here in a second. But I guess the trailer came out for it recently, either today or yesterday. So they were talking about it. I listen, man, if I'm not doing sports talk, I listen to like 5 different sports talk shows in the morning. So I can never remember who the hell said anything, but I'm always like, I'll be at work and I'll just jot it down and, all right, going to talk about that. But yeah, that starts, to me, I bet you that's going to crush the, what is it called? What is the NFL documentary they come out with every year where they follow the teams? They pick
America's Game or Hard Knocks?
Hard Knocks. I bet you that's going to crush Hard Knocks.
Yeah, Hard Knocks is, I mean, no one wants to do Hard Knocks right now either, right?
It is Mariota. I got that confirmed.
That's going to be a good one. That's going to be
I want to
fun
see that now, because I want to see, because he probably had to deal with some stuff as poorly as he played. And a lot of Falcons fans feel like he gave up.
Mm-hmm.
But Cousins just happened to... So evidently they were following him around when he was doing the chains and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Remember the chains that Cousins would put on the plane? He'd be dancing.
Yeah. Adam Schefter then put on like 30 chains one Monday Night Football. It's like, what are you doing, goofball?
Yeah, so evidently... So that's probably why he did it. I don't remember knowing this last year, that they were doing this documentary. Now, the only thing that's going to suck about this is if it's popular, they're going to go out and do it again. And then it'll get stale.
Kind of like, you know what that exactly reminds me of? That one golf thing they always try and do, the match. At first it was cool because you had Tiger, Phil, Manning, and Brady. Now they do it, and it's like the most random people ever. It got real stale to me real quick.
You know, to me, what would be a good one to do is do one for Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want it to be any of the Atlanta Braves because I feel like it's going to be a distraction. So let them follow around a New York Met, a Philadelphia Philly, and who else do we want to put the kibosh on? L.A. Dodger.
Or maybe a Luis Arias, cool him off a little bit.
Yeah. Put a camera right in his grill every single morning. No, wait a minute. I think I just picked him up in Dynasty. No.
Cool it on the camera talk.
I went back and forth on that. I'm like, man, he can get you some points, but he has got no sluggo, man. Like, you're gonna in these point leagues. I don't know if you're in point leagues or if you're in the just categories, but in the point leagues, man, a guy who just hits singles, man. Yeah, he can dink and dunk you 3 or 4 points in a game, but you have a lot of patience.
It's funny about that too, because he said this offseason, I remember following him, and he said, yeah, I'm working on my power. And don't get me wrong, great hitter, but hasn't really worked on his power.
Olivia says it's going to be a good Hard Knocks. Who are they doing Hard Knocks this year? Is it Detroit? No.
I will confirm. I know it was between Detroit, the Jets, and the Saints.
I only said Detroit because when I Googled it, that was the first picture that popped up.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. It looks like the Lions. They reached out to the Lions for a second.
They haven't announced it yet? Oh, wow.
But it says they can force the Jets, the Saints, the Commanders, or the Bears to do it as well.
They can force them?
They can there's a rule where if you haven't done it yet and you've had a consecutive losing seasons, you could be forced to do it.
Oh, I thought they had to get the teams to agree to it. I didn't know they could force it. Well, then you got to go Jets.
I think that would be amazing with Aaron Rodgers and
I would
whatnot.
actually watch it.
Right. You have Robert Saleh, you got Rodgers, you got the recovery of that rookie running back.
You see the dumpster fire unfold? Yeah.
Watch New York Mets, Jets, and Rangers all melt down at once.
What were the other two teams that you said they could be forced? The Saints and who else?
The Bears, the Commandos, and the Saints.
I'm out on the Saints.
I wouldn't mind the Commanders just because all the Washington turmoil that's always
that would be the only reason to watch, and I don't know if there would be enough. I don't know if they would show us enough. But if they would get behind the scenes and go, what do you think about Daniel Snyder?
You want my
He's
real
a real
opinion?
cacti is what I think about him. All right, let's get into Penn State football. Man, now I don't know what publication you're going off of, but the one that I am going off of has them preseason ranked number 8 in the country. You got to be excited about that.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about that, and that is because last year they really heavily focused on building their running game, and they have two of the best running backs in the country coming into the season that I'm just totally excited for. It's going to be awesome. So I'm excited to see how Penn State's offense come out. They still have some good receivers as well, and they have a top-coming quarterback into the picture as well. So there's a lot of good stuff going on in the Nittany Lion world of football right now. That's kind of always been their biggest hindrance, if you ask me, quite frankly, their quarterback position, although, I mean, their last quarterback got drafted. I think we're only going to improve here with Drew Eller, and Drew Eller was one of the top quarterback recruits in the country a couple of seasons ago, and I think he starts to show us why this year. I'm very, very, very excited to see what sophomore quarterback out of Medina, Ohio, Drew Eller could do. We've loved McSorley. We've loved other guys that we've had in the past here, as Yale Clifford, obviously, but they weren't really needle movers, right? For the first time in program history, they could really have a needle mover in Drew Eller. And then you'd throw in the running backs of Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton. They're both going to be sophomores this year. That backfield, I'm telling you, McGee, is going to be really, really lethal and cause a lot of problems on a lot of defenses.
Yeah, and Manny Diaz, man, his first season at Penn State, what they got, the Nittany Lions finished in the top 16 in the nation in multiple categories. I know Hurricane fans don't believe in him, but they did when they hired him. They were singing his praises, and then, the wheels fell off, and he may not be a good head coach. That doesn't mean that you can't be a heck of a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and I agree with that completely. The star power on a coaching staff is there. When you could get other head coaches as coordinators, I love that.
A head coach is essentially a COO, possibly CEO, where you're in charge of a lot of moving parts. A defensive coordinator's just got to be good at his job.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to care about the recruiting aspect. All he has to do is out there and coach the defense. Yeah, he's involved in a little bit of that stuff, but the big picture stuff is all about the head coach. Diaz can go out there and now, how long is he going to stay? Is he going to try to take that and catapult it into another head coaching job? Probably. That's what most of these guys do because that's usually where the money is. But you never know. He might be fed up with trying to be a head coach. He might say, I'm out. Let me just go out here and be a defensive coordinator. We've seen coordinators last in big programs like Penn State for years. So it wouldn't shock me if he hangs on. But, man, this kid Singleton, I got to watch him play this year. Because I found 3 quotes, but the best one that I found was from a rival scout that says Singleton has got speed that you can't coach. It's more of a violent run. It's like you got in front of a freight train. And it says that Singleton's 6.8 yards a carry was only behind Lenny Moore, Kajana Carter, and Larry Johnson. Those are some pretty hefty names. For people who don't know who Lenny Moore is, Lenny Moore was a beast. Lenny Moore was an absolute beast. And he played in the 50s, so a lot of people don't know who he is. Lenny Moore was a beast. But Kajana Carter, number 1 overall pick, he blew his knee out in the NFL and was, the rest is history. And then, of course, Larry Johnson must have been pretty good because wasn't it you that drafted him in the all-time draft? Yeah.
Correct.
So I've got to catch some Penn State games early in the season to watch this kid run. And then the other thing was with the Diaz defense, they're preseason ranked number 8. I circled a couple of games. They don't have what I call an easy schedule, but they got a very manageable schedule where you're going to have a couple of big time games. If you can get past them, the sky's the limit. Iowa and Northwestern, that back-to-back deal is going to be tough because Northwestern football, I never know what the hell to expect from it.
Mm-hmm.
When you go into every season, Northwestern is expected to be somewhere around 65th to 85th in the country, and then randomly, you know this, Tones, there'll be 1, maybe 2 years in a decade where Northwestern puts it all together, a lot like last year. We're like, well, where the hell did this come from? So that's a tough back-to-back. And then the game on October 21st at Ohio State. And then, of course, the Michigan game. And then does Michigan State turn things around? That's how they end the season.
Mm-hmm. And they're hoping so with Mel Tucker's money.
He better. Well, I don't know. What are they going to do to him? Fire him? He'll go home with his 95. What was it? $95 million they gave him.
Mm-hmm.
What a goofball! I mean, that's borderline the worst ever contract in the history of sports.
There's no excuses for that one. But James Franklin's got to prove himself. James Franklin's been great. See, the difference between Tucker and Franklin as well. Franklin, at least, although the results haven't been what Nittany Lion Nation would be in hopes of championships and playoff appearances, we've produced some really good pros. And I know at the end of the day, that's not the goal for the short-term future, but it does help the program in the long term when you see all these Penn State pros pan out like they have been.
Penn State's got higher expectations, too, than a Michigan State.
Absolutely.
So Franklin can go out and go 9-3, and most fans would be like, "That's great." Penn State fans is going to point to the fact that they couldn't beat Michigan, Ohio State, whatever the case may be.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this, Penn State fan, they go in this year, and I know he's been in hot water before, but let's just wipe the slate clean. Franklin comes in. He's got Singleton. He's got that. I am curious to see what this quarterback is about. Now, was he originally Penn State, or did he transfer in?
He was originally a Penn Stater coming over from a close little town in Ohio, and he was pretty excited to join Penn State. And, I mean, Penn State's really excited to get him.
6'5", 242 pounds, and I saw that he was the number 1 quarterback in the country when he came out. What are you going to be happy with as a fan? Realistically, you're like, man, that was a pretty good season. I can't ask you in November because in November everyone's pissed off and they're saying fire it. But Tones, the Penn State diehard fan, in June, it was June 16th. What would you take in that 12-game schedule? How many wins would make you say, all right, we are that was a good year and we can build off of this?
With an incoming quarterback like Eller, if we could win 9 games this year, I really want double digits, but if we win 9 games this year, I'll say, okay, that was a good building year, and then next year hope for the playoffs. If we're hovering in playoff contention for majority of the year, play some good games, although I think Michigan and Ohio State are both losses. But if we play both of those games tough, I'd be pretty satisfied with the season and 9-3.
So if they lose those 2 games, that's 2 losses. Where does the third loss come from?
That's the thing. I do think we get to 10 wins, but I'd still be satisfied at 9-3. And if I had to pick that third loss, I would kind of beat around the bush to the ones you've mentioned a little bit, because I think we're going to beat West Virginia week 1. I think we're taking down Delaware week 2. I think we're getting a week 3 win at U of I. The week 4 or 5 back-to-back, Iowa Northwestern is tough, or the last week against Michigan State. I see it pocketed in one of those 3 games. I do think we win 2 out of those 3, but I think our third loss is either against Iowa, Northwestern, or Michigan State.
The one thing you got to love is, as far as what's considered from, your average Joe on the street who goes, that's a tough game. Folks that don't follow the Big Ten don't understand that Northwestern, Iowa back-to-back is going to be tough to navigate. But when they come off the Ohio State game, they're at home against Indiana. That's pretty manageable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, right before Ohio State, they're playing UMass. So UMass is essentially a clown college at this point. So you can rest most guys going to that game. And then when you get done with Michigan on November 11th, you have to play right after that, but it's at home against Rutgers. Rutgers was terrible on the road last year. So, man, I'm telling you, I've got Penn State 10-2 or better. My question to you is, do they make the playoffs?
I think this is a last year 4, or does it expand this year?
It's next year that they expand, so it's 4.
I think we missed right out this year, but I think we get a New Year's bowl game. But
hey, you get New Year's in spring, and obviously Aller would be back the following year.
Exactly, and at least probably
was Singleton a true freshman last year, or was he redshirted?
He was a true freshman last year.
So then both should be back the following year, right?
Yep, and both the running backs were true freshmen. But all 3 of the big 3 young guys were all true freshmen last year.
Oh,
so
wow.
Theoretically, you're building a pretty good base, but you never know with the crazy world of college football nowadays. But you do think Penn State would have some pretty good Happy Valley money to throw any other ways.
I'm gonna be looking forward to that West Virginia kickoff.
Man, I'm excited for that one. We opened up on a Thursday night last year against Purdue, I believe. This year we get a taste against Penn State on a Saturday, or against West Virginia, on Saturday night. That's going to be a lot of fun.
So I got them 10-2, no playoffs. Where do you have them at?
I got them 10-2, no playoffs as well.
Okay. I'm jotting all these down in this mag so that we can go back later in the year. So then when always asks me, well, what do we predict? And then I can't find it. Well, I'm just going to put it in the stupid magazine, and then there we go. What is your lock and what is your walk-off, sir?
Lock is the Marlins at Nationals. Marlins minus 149, just underneath our cap. Alcantara on the bump against Trevor Williams. That's 7:05 Eastern. Give me Miami there, as they're playing pretty good baseball. And my walk-off is enjoy the Braves-Rockies game tonight, McGee, and all you baseball fans out there in general. If you're looking for something to listen to, tune in to Braves Country Baseball tonight.
And when is your birthday again?
It is next Friday, a week from today.
Oh, okay. Because he said happy birthday early, and I was like, wait a minute. I thought it was like this weekend. I thought I missed something there.
My party's this weekend because I'll be out of town next weekend, but we'll discuss that.
Well, make sure you give me all those deets so I know what's going on. So I'm like, where the hell's Tones at? My lock today is, let me pull it up real quick. I like the over in the, assuming it's still there. Yes. Give me the over in Toronto versus Texas. I'm getting it at an 8.5 on a minus 120. Martin Perez, Galsman. Galsman's been terrible on the road. Martin Perez has given up quite a few hits here recently. I think those two offenses get to rocking and rolling on a Friday night. Walk-off is, we got to go. Y'all have a great Friday, and keep it locked in here. We'll keep the feet up. Keep it locked in here for the Brian Snow Show. And, of course, Chattahoochee versus the Crackers tonight, 7:05. Let's go, baby.
Goodbye, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart, goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks on 99.1 FM WQEE, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country comes your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please follow, like, and subscribe today. Armchair Quarterback Radio, your first choice for Southern sports.
Something of the 5th of September. Something of the 5th of September. She said a lot that I can't remember. Something of the 5th. Can I get another cigarette, please? Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah, I know I live to regret it. Just give me another cigarette, please. Can I get another cigarette, please?
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.